Hey yo. Um so I want to talk about something that's been annoying me recently. So this may turn into a rant potentially. Um but anyways, so I, I've mentioned before that you know, it seems like we humans we have a voice in our head. That's our conscience, right? So that's a no-brainer. No, if you want to argue that, go ahead, but we have a conscience. Okay, cool. It seems that we have two voices in our heads, right? Um, and to kind of use an example to kind of explain what I'm trying to say with that is, let's say you need to wake up to go to work, for example, or you need to wake up to do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Go to the gym, something that is important, something that is going to be good for you, right? So let's just use the gym. You need to wake up to go to the gym. Okay. Well, the gym is good. Waking up in the morning is good. Working out in the morning also good. Cool. Well, there's two voices in your head. It's that can speak to you when you wake up. One of them says, "Hey, get up, go to the gym. It's good for you. You need to do this. You want to get strong. You want to be fit. Go get it." Cool. But then there's another voice that's like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, the gym is good, but like, so is this bed, and you're still tired. You feel it. So like, like, go back to bed. What's the big deal?" Or something like that, right? I feel like most of us can relate to that. So what's annoying is, at least for me, is not being able, or not having, whatever the case may be, control over that other voice, right? Now, some people may not want to control that voice. That's one thing. But me, I'm somebody that does want to control that voice because I don't think that's a good voice. Like, again, sure, you can side with that voice and say, yeah, but like, I am tired, and like, what's the big deal? It's just one day of not going to the gym. That one day turns into 2 days. 2 days turns into three, so forth. It's just I don't agree. I don't subscribe to that belief that listening to that voice is fine. Again, if you do it once or twice, whatever. But again, once or twice is more than likely going to turn into more than once or twice. That's just how that works. And so I don't like listening to that voice. It's very frustrating, and I've been listening to that voice. Not so much anymore, but it's still. So let me backtrack now. Give or take 2+ years ago now, um, I really, I really delve into scripture, God, all that jazz. Cool. I think it was 23. Yeah, pretty sure it was 23. I think it was around September of 23 was really when, like, I was locked in, locked in. And when during that period of time, which was a long period of time, by the way, um, that other voice, the bad one, the one that I consider to be bad, he was put away. He was put in his spot. You know what I mean? Like, he had minimal to no influence on my actions and my life. I was very strict on my going to the gym, very strict on waking up in the morning, very strict on my food. I was on point. On point. Um, Mind you, I'm still not on point per se, but if you're comparing to what I was back then, yeah, I'm not that. I'm not. And so it's frustrating for me because I do believe that in order for me, so I'm going to talk individually here, I'm not going to talk universally, but in order for me, Josue, to achieve the things that I am trying to achieve, I do believe that it is best achieved, or more efficiently achieved, quickly achieved, whatever, with when I am on point. when I don't listen to that voice. Hardly if ever. Right. And so I asked myself, well, what the hell? Because again, I'm still going to the gym, I'm still waking up, I'm still doing, but I have my moments. And I used to not have moments. There was there was a bit ago now, more, maybe a few months ago, give or take, but a few months ago, like it was, I like fell off. It was not bad. It wasn't bad, but like, it was bad comparatively, like I think I went 2 3 weeks without having gone to the gym. And again, some people might hear that and be like, so what, it's not that long. Again, if that's how you think, that's cool, whatever, do you. But no, I can't afford to think that way. It is not going to help me achieve that which I want to achieve, which I'm trying to achieve. So again, that's why I'm saying I'm speaking from an individual perspective, right? Like I'm not going to speak universally for everybody. But like I guess the point of that is this. If you are somebody, if somebody is hearing this and they are somebody who wants to achieve, more than the average Joe, let's say, and you do believe that obviously, being focused and just on point with your shit is the right way to do it, it's interesting and annoying at the same time how you can go from on it to not no longer on it or whatever, right? So I've been trying to figure that out. And as for myself personally, it seems it's a mix of things. I don't think I'm unable to hone in on one singular uh thing, whatever that is causing this. It seems like it's a mix of things. Um, but I'm gonna hone in on, even though it seems it's a mix of things, I do think it in some way does narrow down to one, um, which is faith. Now, when I say faith, I do mean faith, like in God, Scripture, and all that. But I don't just mean that though, because what is faith? Faith is believing in, or yeah, believing in something that you do not yet see or do not yet have, right? For example, if you are an entrepreneur, hopefully you have faith that you will succeed, because otherwise, good luck, right? But again, when you're starting off as an entrepreneur, there's no guarantee. It's not like you have the successes right off the bat. It's not like you have a crystal ball that tells you what's going to happen in 10 years, 5 years time, whatever, right? But you have faith, and that faith guides you, and that faith allows you to do the things and say the things and become the things, what have you, to accomplish that which you are trying to accomplish, right? So faith, it seems to me it's narrowed down to faith, because like for me personally, so again, I went through a period of time where I fell off and I wasn't going to the gym and all that jazz. And one of the things that I noticed during a period of time when I've mentioned in the previous, like I think my last video, that I have, I've been studying and trying to understand different types of people, different types of beliefs, so forth and so forth. And I think it seems to me that time period when I fell off was a time period when I was trying to understand and study, let's say, people who believe, like atheists and things like that, right? And now again, I don't regret doing that at all. If anything, it's allowed me to be better connected to my faith. But during that period of time, it seems like doing that, like pursuing that understanding and what have you, disconnected me, maybe is the right way of saying it. Disconnected me a bit from my faith. Now again, not just in God though, just in general. Because here's the thing. When the Lord found me and when I was on it, right? I during that period of time and still now, but I'm telling, like again, I've stated before that our faith and our belief, it can falter from time to time. I do think that is somewhat natural, for most people. Maybe not everybody, but definitely for most people, that is natural where we fluctuate because we're human, and yeah, it's just one of those things. But during that period of time when I was really locked in, like, I just truly believed wholeheartedly that one, I was gonna be successful. Two, that I was gonna find because one of my big drivers, one of my whys as to why I want to be more than what I am, is because I want to have a family. I want to have a wife. I want to have kids, and I want to be able to provide for them in every aspect. I want to be strong for them. I want to be healthy for them. I want to be rich for them. I want to be smart for them. I want to be as much of everything as I can be for them. For me, myself too, duh, but more so for them. And so, again, that was a driver. Belief in the Lord was a driver. And again, I can keep going, but I can't still pinpoint. So, sorry, I'm scatterbrained here, but here I'll mention this because I think it's relevant. And again, I'm just trying to put my own thoughts together, honestly. So if you're listening to me, yeah, oops, or not oops, but sorry. um, so probably a week or two ago is really, and again, I've never really fallen off too much per se. I mean, I do think I did, but again, if you ask other people, they'll be like, it's not that big a deal. But again, I'm like, I disagree. But about a week or two ago, I really got locked in more so than before. Well, not more so than 2 years ago, but more so than a few months ago, right? And so something happened. I did something. Um, that was not a good thing. It wasn't like anything horrible. It was not a thing that I should have done. It was definitely a it was just something that I should have avoided for sure, right? And it seems to me, because that thing I did was troublesome. It bothered me, and so forth and so forth. And the outcome of which could have been pretty bad, but it wasn't. God bless. But it could have been pretty bad. Had it been pretty bad, it would have been quite the tribulation I would have had to go through, right? And so I thought to myself, because again, after that, I really started getting locked in again. But then I was like, because I was at, I always talk to myself and say, like, well, what's going on here, right? And thus far, I've concluded, because one of the things I've noticed, just as a human, a natural way of what humans do, is even those who don't believe in God, or those who just have a very basic belief in God, let's say, when you go through something difficult, or somebody else that you know or love goes through something difficult, that's usually when you start to really put your faith in God. Usually, right? That's when people start to pray. That's when people go to Him and so forth. Now that's not appropriate. You should have faith in God at all times, right? But again, humans are humans. But here's again, the thing I'm getting at is, after I went through that thing, or after I experienced that experience and did the thing that I did, and again, the outcome was not what it could have been, God bless. I It seems to me that my faith was restored, given the fact that God prevented the worst possible outcome. And and I and I just, I guess what it is maybe what it is I don't want to tempt Him, you know? Like, I did what I did partly because of the fact that I was just no longer as connected to my faith. Again, I am, but like, I I falter. Um but I don't want to tempt Him. And I do not want to make a mistake like that ever again. And so and here's another thing that I've noticed, at least for myself, which I think is interesting. when you have faith, people judge you, and in most cases, I would argue, make you feel like that you're that's not the right way of going about it, right? And understandably, right? It's like it's scary. Like if I have faith that I'm gonna be successful, but I'm not yet successful, and I'm doing things that you know, for example, my mother. I'm doing things that my mother isn't used to, that she doesn't understand, and people who don't, if you don't understand something, if something's new and whatever, natural instinct is to kind of reject it or be like, no, that's not it. But it's it's necessary, and I'm not going to go into the why. I mean, you can just take the story of Abraham when God was like, hey, go into the unknown, literally. Go somewhere that I will show you. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'll show you when you get there. At the age of 75, yeah, no, I mean, again, that's whatever. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But uh when you're pursuing your faith, and you have yet to achieve the things which you speak to others that you will achieve in your faith, in holding true to your faith, people will judge you, and people will make you feel like you're wrong, or that you need to be careful, or that this and that. They will give you doubt. Again, I from my personal experience, and I'm sure many can relate to that. And what's interesting to me is this. So again, 2 years ago when I was locked in, that was happening quite a bit. Because especially 2 years ago, because when I say I'm locked in, I mean like I stopped talking to people, not purposely. I wasn't ignoring people. No, no, no. To me, going out to drink and have fun, that was not a good use of my time. That is not going to help me achieve the things I'm trying to achieve. So I wasn't going to do it. And that was out of the normal compared to who I was way back when, before the Lord found me. Right? So people were like, that's weird. That must not be good, because that's not Josue. Oh my goodness, what have you. And so when I was locked in, people were judging me, making me, trying to get me to doubt, but unsuccessfully. Now here's the thing though, during that period of time, I truly was in a place of peace. Like I felt sincere peace, even though like there was so much uncertainty with my life. Just my faith in truly believing in God and all the things that He promises, like I was in peace, because I knew things were gonna play out as necessary, the way they need to play out, because He's in control. I gave Him full control. I what's the word? Not succumbed. Yeah, you can use that word, but I gave in to the Lord. I just said, hey, everything's in your hands, right? And that gave me peace, like sincere peace, like I can't explain it, right? But then once I once the doubt started to actually get into my head, and I started listening to it more and more, and I started to go out more. And again, I'm not trying to tell you or anybody for that matter to not go out, whatever. But again, Josue didn't like. I still don't like going out for the sake of going out. I don't think it's not gonna get me to where I want to be. So why would I do it? You know what I mean? And again, I do go out here and there for special occasions in particular, but just just every weekend, because why not? Again, I have been doing that for the last couple of months, because again, I've been falling off or whatever. But here's the point: during this period of time, these few months where I've been not as as strict with my actions and so forth, my peace, I'm still very at peace, and I'm because I'm still connected. I still believe the things I believe, but again, the doubt is there. It's my belief and my faith has been mixed with doubt now. Before, the doubt was trying to get in, but heck no. Like I had full control of that other voice of keeping the doubt in, but that other voice ended up mixing in with the good voice, the voice of Jesus, let's say, whatever. And these last few months, that peace has not been the same comparatively to what it was before. And I think that's interesting. I guess the point I'm trying to get at, because I'm running out of time, but what's frustrating for me is this. And again, I think this is a necessary part of my life. I think the point of me doing or experiencing what I've been experiencing these last few months is for me to conclude this, and through experience saying, the right way for me, for Josue, is being locked in more so than not. Again, now life has seasons, right? Like you can't always be fully locked in and ignore everything else. Like, no, I don't think that's appropriate either. But I think I am in a season, and maybe for years, for a couple years, which I think is appropriate, mind you, of again, maybe in a year, I'm locked in for 75+% of it. And the other percent, I'm, free to do as I see fit. Because again, I am not where I want to be. And so, but okay, sorry, I'm rambling on. But the thing that's annoying for me is this: I understand that because I've experienced it. And what's really frustrating is even though I understand that, I have, at this point in time, I mean, again, I'm definitely not as locked in as I was. But at this point in time, I'm still not as locked in as I was when the Lord first found me. And I'm like, well, why? I know during that period of time I had this unexplainable peace that that anybody would desire, I would argue. So why wouldn't I want that? You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that's very fascinating to me because it's like everybody everybody knows the good things in life. Everybody knows that doing drugs are not good. Everybody knows that drinking all the time is not good. Everybody knows that going to the gym, running, waking up early to get stuff done, all of that, not sleeping in for hours on end, all of that is good. We know this. Yet, some more than others, we aren't able to do those things that we have full control of. We have full control of those things. We have full control to say no, to say yes, to wake up, to go to sleep. We have control of those things. But yet, we struggle with that. And that's so interesting to me. And it's interesting because I don't know, it's just there's many reasons why. I'm not even going to try to explain that, but I'll end with this. So there's levels to it, it seems. Like for example, there's this dude named Andy Elliott, and he's a business coach or a life no, yeah, business coach, sales coach, that's what he is. He's a sales coach. This man's, as far as I can tell, he's locked in heavy. Like probably 90% of his life is, you know what I mean? Elon Musk is another one. I can keep going. Like all these people who just, Elon Musk is a more commonly known one, but nonetheless, both of them, they are locked in heavy. And I'm pretty locked in too. Not to that extent, right? And again, everybody has their own level of being locked in, what have you. And I don't think there's a perfect level. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve and, what you're willing to sacrifice. Um, but I think it's important to understand one, what level of locked in you're in. Two, what level of locked in you're trying to achieve. And three, and the most important, why? Why do you want to achieve that level of being locked in? Why do you want to achieve that level of going to the gym 5 days a week? Why do you want to achieve that level of making sure you don't sleep in? Achieve that level of making sure your food is on point, your diet is on point, your body is on point, your mind is on point, no drugs, no alcohol. Like, why? You know what I mean? Because I think I'm almost positive that that's the key. And ultimately, to conclude, that why needs to be it has to be a why that's able to give control to that good voice in your head. You know what I mean? Like, because I think ultimately, again, you have control of that voice nonetheless, but like the why helps big time. And if the why isn't good enough, you know what I mean? If it's surface level, if it's selfish, I think is probably not a good why. Again, I could be wrong there, but I would argue you're not going to be as locked in, and you're not going to be able to get to the level that you're trying to get to and ultimately achieve the things you're trying to get to, or at least efficiently, right? You may be able to achieve it nonetheless, but whether or not you achieve it efficiently or in the best way possible, I would argue against that. I would argue not. But yeah, I think that's the point of this. And I think for me, it's just like my why again is just because the big why is because I want to please God, right? And serve people. That's just like summed down into two phrases: please God and serve people. But ultimately, just because, again, I want to have a family and I want to be able to provide. And I already have a family that I want to provide for. Not directly, not a wife with kids, but like, cousins and my mother and so forth, nieces and nephews. And I need to have faith. Again, it's always, it always comes back to faith. Because if I have faith that why is going to, particularly in the wife and kids, right? If I have faith that why is going to come to fruition, because I definitely doubted that for some time, and I still have times where I do, but what have you. But if I have faith in that, like I have no doubt that I will be on it. But yeah, it's just that faith, being able to maintain that faith and control that inner voice that tells you otherwise, you know. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. So yeah, I told you it was gonna be a rant, and it's definitely what it was. But yeah, hopefully next time I talk about this, I'll have it more locked in and be able to be able to better verbalize my thoughts. So, anyways, God bless.